Oh, well, we're back in the hole.
Well, g'day gang. It's Saturday afternoon, and been a while since I've just come out in the shed and had a bit of a yak with you guys. But I thought this wasn't a bad time to have it. Beer o'clock. Cheers. So what I'm going to talk about here is I'm leaning on the old chef, she's a beauty. Cars. Now, you see a lot of people getting new cars, buying new to them cars. I've never owned a brand new car. I've driven plenty of brand new cars when I've worked for Holden in the 70s. And I drove brand new Monaros and brand new Commodores, brand new Geminis, brand new, Sandman panel vans. And I've worked in a lot of places where the cars are almost new. A lot of yards. I've worked in a lot of car yards. And so I know the tricks and stuff like that about, what goes on with used cars. And I've never, as I said, I've never ever owned a brand new car. I've never needed to. The reason for that is, as I said, I used to get to drive them all over, the brand new, different one every day. So I always used to buy, I did for a long time, I think the most expensive car I bought, well, the Chevy owes me the most money, but that's in drips and drabs, and as the build goes along, you keep pouring money in. But anyway, it was my first car, and it was probably the newest, and it was 4 years old, and it was an LC Torana. That was in 1974 when I got my licence, and it was a 1969 car, a little two-door Torana LC. Other than that, I'm like $300. I bought something, and I'm driving around for a couple of years. You know what I mean? And I've had some really, really good luck with some of these cars. Some of them have been pearlers. And look, I've even had a Volvo, a 244 Volvo. That was a 1982. And mate, that was a fun thing. That was a fun thing to drive around in. I can't believe I'm actually sticking my hand up for that, but it was a fun thing to. It was a fun thing to drive. It you come to a roundabout, and you could just sort of start to steer around the roundabout and stomp on the throttle, and the back would kick out, steering wheel would go around, and do you know the looks you get from people at a roundabout, seeing a Volvo all crossed up going through the roundabout? There's a lot of brake lights going on because they don't know what the hell's going to be happening next, but it was a fun thing. But most of the cars I've had, $500, 67 Holden. I had it for 5 years. I built an engine up, I put that in there, and probably 5 years later, a guy offered me $500 for it out of Ridgeo with no engine. How do you lose? You know what I mean? Cheap cars easy to sell. Get a little bit of, get a bit of use out of them. You don't get used to them. You get a bit of use out of them. But I'm pretty good at, I like to know what I'm buying. So right, back to where I'm. I think this is where I'm heading. If somebody asked you, and I'm going with guys in the trade, guys out of the trade. If somebody asked you, a young fellow who's going to get his licence very shortly, like my young bloke, he's not a young bloke, he's 32 years of age and never never felt the inkling to drive. But he's got a permit and he's learning, and he's almost ready to go and get his license. And he asked me, what do I think? What's a decent car? Well, you know the things that I work on. You know, you've seen the things that I work on. If you've watched my channel, if you watched a dozen of my videos, just randomly you would see the things that I have to work on and how intricate some of the stuff gets. And look, sometimes, if it takes time to do it, if the acid gets dropped and someone's trying to bust my balls, I can't. It's just no. It takes as long as it takes, as far as I'm concerned. I don't care if they allocate X amount of hours. If it takes me more, so be it. Because most of the time, these things I've never ever seen before. So I'm learning as I go, and a lot of these things I do get a lot of mental stimulation, and I do get a sense of satisfaction from a lot of them, and a lot of them I just don't. I just think, why are these things so complicated? Why are these parts failing on these particular vehicles so early in their life? And so what is it? What sort of car would you say somebody would be good in? Now, I wouldn't say for a new driver on a probational license. I wouldn't say you buy a new car from even the cheap here is going to be 22 or 25 grand or whatever, something like that. For like a Hyundai or something, because I wouldn't go to Holden, I wouldn't go to Ford, I wouldn't go to it goes down the line. The cars, certainly no Europeans and things like that. So what would be a good car? Now, to me, now I've got what I consider to be a good car, but to someone else it'll be a piece of shit, right? And I'll tell you why. It's faded in the paint, because it spends all its life outside in the hot Aussie sun. The 38C day today, Saturday, the 20 whatever the hell it is. I haven't got my phone, so I can't tell you. Almost the end of summer. It shows signs of wear, but the thing just doesn't fail, and whatever has failed on it has been my fault, I feel, as far as a letdown on the car. If you've seen us driving around the Pulsar, you see it sitting in the driveway. It's a 1994, still has original exhaust. It's had one clutch. I put it in. I bought this, I got this organised from my parents at, sorry about that, didn't know that one. In 1998, so it was 4 years old when they bought it. It had, I think, about 50,000 kilometres or something on it. When they passed away, they left it to me, said, you have it. So I drive it now. It's not a sentimental thing, but this thing has been a bulletproof little unit. N14, 1994, 1.6, automatic, manual transmission, one clutch, by the way, did I say? One set of brake pads, believe it or not. It still has the original rear brake shoes, original exhaust, original radiator. No, not the original oil. But it doesn't let me down. The one time it did let me down was because I ran it maybe a little low on fuel. Now you got to remember the thing's done 200,000 kilometres. And a little while back I ran it down on fuel, probably a bit lower than I should have, and the pump being old, I really packed it up. So, but that's great. And now I couldn't say to Harley, like, mate, get one of these, because this has been absolutely brilliant for me. But I've seen plenty of these in bad condition as well. So it all depends how the thing's been how it's been treated. Now, we bought him a car, or he bought himself a car. But I found this car at a yard, a guy that I know, He offered me a job as well, which I'm not going to take. We know what happens. If you've been watching me for a while, you know for a fact that what happened when I went to that last yard. The yard offered me a job, and that was bullshit. I ain't going there again. And although this guy's really nice, things change, all right. So, but anyway. So I spotted a car, but Harley asked me. He said, "What sort of car? I want to buy a car, Dad. What do you reckon?" And I went through a few of them. There wasn't many that I that I said that would be a good car for him. I actually said a Hyundai, either an i20 or something like that, but that was out of his budget. And so I'm thinking back of all the things I had to do on cars back over the years. You know what I mean? The regularity of things that break down, the intricacy of the work that it takes to get in there and fix that, the amount of money that it costs. Like the repairs won't cost him anything. He'll have to pay for the parts. I'll fix whatever's buggered on it. That's why I want him to get something that I consider to be reasonably stout, skookum, as ABE would say. So, is that still going? Hope so. So what I'm thinking of is I'll show you what we bought him, or what he bought today, and something I found from a friend's yard. And it was actually, he asked me to look around for him, and I said, mate, yeah, when I get a chance. And I just dropped in there in my lunch break, and this is what we found. Now, I know my mate Anthony would say, good call, mate. Yeah. Nice and straight, nice and tidy. Look, I don't know if this has ever been painted, but I'll tell you what. You know what I mean? You know? It's got a scuff up on the bonnet there. If you can see it, and a little chip there. So it looks like it's been brush touched or something there and there. Oh, it's a little grubby mark there. Look. Oh. What a shit box, it's got rust in the paint. No. It's factory alloy wheels. It's a 1.8. It's in very good shape. It does have a couple of issues though, but I'll show you that. These will be going as tinted tail lights. But like around the back of it, this is the only bit that's a bit of an issue. It's got a bit of a rash there, but it's not a dent. Bad reception on the radio there. But yeah, it's hang on a second, I'll have to get the key. So I can't tell you if this is a one owner. It's got the original key, it's only got one of them. I can't tell you if this is a one owner. I doubt it's a one owner. There is a logbook. And from the description of the people that traded it, or actually sold it to that yard, they didn't sound like they were the name that was on the thing. It was more Indian, the name that was on the thing. But anyway, by the same token, I think it's probably a two owner. He'll be the third. And the people that did have it, or did own it, really did look after it, I believe. You know, top of the door's all beautiful. Air's just been regassed. The seat's all good shape. The roof liner's all good shape. It's had a service, and it's had aircon regas. It's got a Kenwood stereo in it. Multi-speaker thing. It's a Seeker, as you can see. It has got wind-up windows. That's one thing that won't go wrong. But Toyotas, other than the door switches, if Anthony would remember, door switches on those little Toyotas go a bit. But no need to worry about that. We got windies. So well, there we go. It's 5 o'clock. I didn't realise it was that time. But yeah, it's got 230,000 kilometres on it. But as I say, it's got a service history up to the 200,000 mark in the service book, and they all look like they've been done by Toyota. So I expect, knowing the quality of work that my friend Anthony over there at HO Motorsports, what Toyota expect, this thing's going to be in pretty good shape. I drove it, it's perfect. I've got no oil leaks. I took it from the yard. I took it to my work, which was around the corner. Put it up in the hoist. It's there we go. Put it up in the hoist. It can use some brake pads. Not a big deal. Not worth hassling, and arguing the hassle over 25 or 30 bucks worth of brake pads. A couple of wiper blades, they're like the ends hanging out. You know what I mean? A couple of little things, but this thing was loved, and it drives really good. And I think as a first car, that little bugger will do him just fine. What do you reckon? That's the sort of stuff I try and point people to. You won't have much trouble, because you know who's going to have to fix that thing, don't you? Yeah, Muggins, mate. And do you think I like fixing cars? I do it for a living. Come on, do I want to do it for free? Have yourselves a good one. Thanks for listening. I'll check you later.